What if the most dangerous part of your Antarctic cruise isn't the Drake Shake at all? You've seen the photos of stunning glaciers, the playful penguins, the pure untouched wilderness of Antarctica. Getting there is a ritual for adventurers, and it all starts with the Drake Passage. People talk about the rough seas, but that's just the headline. What they don't tell you are the real, hidden dangers, the quiet risks and unseen challenges that can turn the journey of a lifetime into a nightmare. This isn't about scaring you. It's about giving you the truth. As a cruise pro, I've spent time on the sea, and I've seen how this seemingly short stretch of ocean can test a ship and its passengers. So let's talk about the 15 hidden dangers of the Drake Passage that most cruisers don't see coming. Don't book your expedition until you've watched this video from start to finish. The most immediate dangers are a direct result of the unpredictable and violent motion of the sea, which can turn your ship into a hazard zone. Number 1. The Drake Shake is not just waves. The Drake Passage isn't just about big waves. It's a perfect storm of powerful currents, gale-force winds, and deep water with no landmass to slow them down. This creates a relentless, violent, and erratic motion that can send a person flying. Waves here can routinely top 40 feet, and winds can gust over 50 knots. The ship's movement can create G-forces strong enough to throw you off balance, even when standing still. Practice the one-hand rule at all times. Always have one hand on a handrail, a chair, or a wall. This is a non-negotiable part of maritime safety, especially in the Drake Passage. Book a cabin on the lowest, most central deck possible, as this area experiences the least amount of motion. I'll never forget a passenger who, during a violent lurch, was sent flying from the middle of a hallway into a wall. They suffered a severe concussion. The ship's medical crew later told me it's one of the most common injuries they treat during a rough crossing. But a fall is just the start of the dangers. Number 2. Your cabin becomes a hazard zone. In a violent storm, your cabin can become a hazard zone. Unsecured luggage, laptops, or even a water bottle can launch across the room as the ship tilts. What feels like harmless clutter becomes a flying weapon in seconds. A ship's list can reach 20 degrees or more, and anything not bolted down will move. Before a storm hits, secure everything. Slide luggage under the bed, put electronics and glassware into drawers, and make sure nothing heavy is left on tables. Treat your cabin like a sealed safe space. On one crossing, a passenger left their heavy DSLR camera on the desk. When the ship rolled, the camera shot across the room, slammed into the wall, and cracked both the camera and the paneling. If it had hit someone, it could have been a skull fracture instead of just lost property. And while loose objects are easy to forget, there's one hidden danger most people ignore until it's far too late. Number 3. Leaving balcony doors open. An open balcony door during a storm isn't just a draft risk, it's a flooding risk. Strong winds can rip that door from your hand, slam it open, and send seawater gushing into your cabin. The sheer force of a rogue wave can break the glass itself. Before a storm, lock and secure your balcony doors. Close the blinds and stay away from the glass. Your cabin is designed to be watertight, but only if you treat it like a sealed safe space. I once heard about a couple who thought they'd watch the storm roll in from their balcony. The wind caught their door, slammed it open, and water poured across their floor. Their laptop and luggage were soaked, but the real danger was the glass door itself almost shattering from the strain. But while balcony doors are easy to forget, the next mistake is an even more serious one. Number 4. The gym becomes a hazard zone. The gym on a cruise ship is a major danger zone during a storm. The ship's motion can cause a treadmill to suddenly speed up or a weight machine to malfunction, leading to serious injury. Free weights can become dangerous projectiles. Stay out of the gym. The equipment is not meant to be used while the ship is in constant motion. I once saw a passenger try to use a treadmill during a storm. The ship lurched, and the treadmill suddenly accelerated, sending them flying off the back. And if the gym is dangerous, the next mistake is an even more serious one. The unpredictable seas can also take a toll on your body in ways you wouldn't expect. Number 5. Ignoring seasickness symptoms. Most people think they are immune to seasickness, but the Drake Passage is a different kind of monster. Ignoring the symptoms can lead to severe dehydration, which can be a serious medical issue at sea. This is not a mild upset stomach. It can be violent and debilitating. Take seasickness medication proactively, not reactively. Take it before the passage begins, and continue to take it as directed. Also, eat bland foods, stay hydrated, and find a stable point on the ship, such as the midship decks. I once saw a passenger who was very sick from seasickness. They refused to take medication, and they were so dehydrated they had to be taken to the ship's medical bay. But seasickness is only the beginning of the health issues. Number 6. The onboard medical center has its limits. The medical staff on an expedition ship are general practitioners, not specialists. They are trained for urgent care, not for managing complex, chronic conditions or severe injuries sustained in a fall. A standard visit can cost over $100, and a severe injury requiring more advanced care could lead to a bill in the thousands. Have a candid conversation with your doctor about your health before you book your trip. Bring a copy of your medical records, and be aware of your limitations. I spoke to a passenger who had a minor issue with their blood pressure medication. The ship's doctor was unable to properly manage it, and the guest had to be seen by a specialist on the next port. And if you have a medical emergency, the next danger is all about your life. Number 7. Emergency medical evacuation is not guaranteed. The Drake Passage is a long way from a major hospital. If you have a serious medical emergency, it can be a long time before you can be evacuated to a hospital on land. The weather and the sea conditions can also make an evacuation impossible. An emergency evacuation can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and requires a specialized flight. Have a comprehensive travel insurance policy that specifically covers emergency medical evacuation. Be aware of the limitations of your policy and the conditions under which an evacuation can be made. Helicopter. I once saw a passenger who had a heart attack. The ship's medical team was able to stabilize them, but the family was told that an evacuation was not possible due to the weather. And while a medical emergency is terrifying, the next danger is a big one. The Drake Passage can also test your mental fortitude and your patience in ways you never expected. Number 8. The Drake Shake can last longer than you think. You're told the Drake Passage is a 2-day journey, but that's not always the case. The average crossing is around 48 hours, but a severe storm can add a full day, or even 2, of relentless motion. This can impact the ship's fuel consumption and logistical schedule, potentially affecting your Antarctic itinerary. Be prepared for a longer journey. Have a plan for how you will pass the time and how you will handle a longer trip. A client who was on a 10-day cruise was told the Drake Passage would be a 2-day journey. It ended up being a 3-day journey due to a storm, and they were stuck in their cabin for a day. And if a long journey is a danger, the next one is even more so. Number 9. The feeling of total isolation. The Drake Passage is a long way from land. You are truly at the mercy of the sea. The feeling of total isolation can be unnerving for some, especially since the ship is in a communication dead zone, with no cell service and slow, expensive satellite Wi-Fi. It's a complete digital detox whether you want one or not, and being completely out of touch can take a psychological toll. Acknowledge the feeling of isolation and be prepared to deal with it. Find a friend on the ship, talk to the crew, or spend time in the library or the lounges. I once spoke with a passenger who was very homesick and felt isolated from their family. They spent the entire passage in their cabin, but they were able to find solace in the library. But a feeling of isolation is one thing. A feeling of disappointment is another. Number 10. The disappointment of a rough crossing. These expeditions are not cheap, often starting at $10,000 per person. A rough crossing can make luxurious amenities like observation lounges, bars, and even fine dining unusable, turning a once-in-a-lifetime trip into a cramped, miserable experience. Manage your expectations. The Drake Passage is a test of a ship and its passengers. It's a part of the adventure, not the entire adventure. I once saw a passenger who was very upset that they were unable to enjoy any of the onboard amenities. They felt that they had wasted their money. And while a disappointment is a danger, the next one is an even more serious one. Number 11. The risk of a no-landing expedition. The Drake Passage's weather can also impact your ability to land in Antarctica. The weather can be so bad that a landing is not possible. Be prepared for a no-landing expedition. The weather is unpredictable, and a landing is not guaranteed. I once spoke with a passenger who was very upset that they were unable to land in Antarctica. They were told that it was not possible due to the weather. And while a no-landing expedition is a danger, the next one is a very serious one. Number 12. The risk of major itinerary changes due to ice and weather. The Drake Passage's chaos doesn't end with the crossing. The same unpredictable weather can force the captain to alter the entire itinerary in Antarctica itself. A route may be blocked by impenetrable ice, or a sudden storm could prevent access to a planned landing site for days. For a trip that costs tens of thousands of dollars, a complete change of plans is a major financial and emotional blow. Manage your expectations. The cruise line's priority is safety, and the captain's word on itinerary changes is final. View the itinerary as a flexible plan, not a promise. The most rewarding part of an Antarctic expedition is often the unexpected, not the planned. I once spoke to a family who had saved for years for their Antarctic cruise. They were devastated when ice conditions forced the captain to skip 3 of their most anticipated landings. While the captain made the right call for safety, the emotional disappointment was real. It's a risk you accept when you travel to the ends of the earth. And while the unpredictability of the weather is a huge danger, the next ones are about the risks you face when you finally leave the ship. Number 13. The unpredictability of the weather. The weather in the Drake Passage is a wild card. A beautiful day can turn into a violent storm in a matter of minutes. Be prepared for all weather conditions. Have a plan for how you will handle a sudden change in the weather. I once saw a passenger who was very upset that they were unable to enjoy any of the onboard amenities. They felt that they had wasted their money. Now that you've made it across the Drake, the real dangers of the expedition begin. Number 14. The hidden dangers of Zodiac landings. The Drake Passage is just the beginning. The real risks often happen during landings. Disembarking from an expedition ship into a small Zodiac boat is a multi-step process that can be treacherous in even a moderate swell. Passengers can slip while transferring from the gangway to the Zodiac, or while stepping ashore from the boat. A fall into the freezing water can be a medical emergency in seconds due to the risk of cold shock. Follow the cruise instructions to the letter. Wear the provided life vests and your waterproof boots. Practice the Zodiac shuffle, moving low and deliberately as you transfer. Always hold on to a crew member's arm for stability. On one expedition, I saw a passenger, eager to get a photo, lose their footing as the Zodiac rose on a wave. They fell between the boat and the dock, and a crew member had to immediately pull them out. They were unharmed, but soaking wet and terrified. It was a clear demonstration of how a single misstep can become a crisis. But a fall isn't the only danger the cold can bring. Number 15. The very real risk of cold shock and hypothermia. The air and water temperatures in the Drake Passage in Antarctica are dangerously cold, often below freezing. Cold shock, the body's involuntary response to sudden immersion in cold water, can cause hyperventilation and rapid loss of muscle control. Within minutes, hypothermia can set in, leading to a loss of consciousness and even death. This is why even a brief fall into the water is a life-threatening event. Dress in layers and wear high-quality waterproof gear. Always wear the provided life vest during Zodiac transfers and never take it off until instructed. If you fall in the water, focus on controlling your breathing and finding a stable position while waiting for the crew to help. I've heard stories from crew members about passengers who got hypothermia after a small fall into the water. The extreme cold hits your system so fast, you barely have time to react. The ship's emergency protocol for a man overboard in these waters is a sobering reminder of the stakes. And that is the most important lesson of all. Look, the Drake Passage is a serious place. It is a test of a ship and its passengers. But it is also a beautiful place. The feeling of being in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by nothing but water, is an experience you will never forget. So, before you book your next trip, be aware of these 15 hidden dangers. Pay attention, be smart, and be prepared. The cruise line will do their part, but you need to do yours. Because the only thing that's more important than the perfect vacation is coming home safely. If you found this video informative, give it a like and subscribe to the Cruise Pro channel for more honest, valuable advice. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.